Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Mean Streets, powered by FTN, presented by Game Plus Network. Chris Meaney hanging out with you. Hopefully you're having a fantastic Monday. Lots to get to here on this show. Riding solo with you, we do have Josh Larkey of FTN dropping by tomorrow. We'll dive into the rookie wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, and quarterbacks. Not a lot really to like from the quarterback or tight end position from a redraft standpoint, but we will have a conversation in terms of redraft leagues as well as keeper and dynasty leagues. So not a lot of football today, although the NFL will release their schedule this week, I believe on Thursday. I saw this morning they're going to have a doubleheader on Monday Night Football for week 2, but the games are going to be at the same time. It's a little weird. It's odd. I'd love to see 2 games on Monday. I would love that, an early one and a late one. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't think I'm totally about it. And I'm pretty sure I saw 99% sure that it was the same time. Tennessee at Buffalo, week 2, Monday Night Football. And then Minnesota at Philadelphia will be the Eagles' home opener. But we will get the schedule release on Thursday, I believe. And I'm sure most of it will be leaked here a little bit later on in the week, which always seems to be the case. I try to avoid that stuff. I like the excitement of just hearing on the spot. It's like the NFL draft when it was happening. We had some people hanging out with us when we were doing the live show here at FTN, and they're just leaking the picks, 3 picks before they would have. It's like, how do you know this stuff? And I don't want to know it. I step away from it. I like the excitement, but we'll dive in maybe Friday and just take a look at some of the most appealing games, some matchups. I think that we could see some teams, some quarterbacks play their former team. Certainly we'll see Carson Wentz play the Eagles twice in Philly. I think we'll see Russell Wilson, a matchup against Seattle. I don't know if that will be in Seattle or not, but there's going to be some intriguing matchups. Always look at those revenge spots, especially quarterbacks going back to maybe their former city or stadium after playing there for so long. Like Matt Ryan, maybe Matt Ryan has a game against the Falcons in Atlanta. But I think Russell Wilson, that's the key for me. And Wilson maybe playing his former squad as a member of the Denver Broncos. But that's all the football talk here today. There's, like I said, a lot really to get to on this show. We're going to break down a bunch of action in the NHL, 4 more games here this evening with some teams, in must-win situations. Certainly the Nashville Predators are down 3-0. Game 4 tonight happening at Bridgestone Arena against the Avs. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't look good for Nashville. I thought that they'd get 1 game. We talked about, betting them to sweep at plus 330 or taking them to win in 5 at plus 240. So hopefully you were in on one or the other, maybe both, and you could still earn a bit of a profit, especially if the Avs take care of business tonight. There's a lot to like from the Avs from a point and shot point standpoint. Mccannon is hitting all of his games at 4.5. Cale Makar is hitting the score sheet. Gabriel Landisgog, we've been all over him, plus money for an assist. Very interested in him again tonight. Other guys like Valeri Nichushkin, 2.5 shots seems to be a near lock for him over the past 5 or 6 weeks of the season. Didn't see him this morning, but keep an eye on him a little bit later on. When we get closer to puck drop, we could see him pop up over at DraftKings or whatnot as well. Am the artist in the house. And I'm back. What's up, Meaney? Love this FTN family. George, what's up, my guy? I know you're in here. Miss some Tino. Yeah, George is the one who's really running the show for us all the time here. Tino made an appearance on Friday, Am the Artist. He hopped in here for a second. And I think we may get him, if our schedules work out, maybe we'll get him to talk about his Mets or maybe give us a couple NBA playoff picks when we get deeper into the NBA playoffs. But we do appreciate you, Am the Artist. He says Barkoff and Crosby are his locks today, and they are mine as well. Florida and Washington going at it this evening. We have the Capitals with a 2-1 lead on the Panthers, and the Dallas Stars at home, 2-1 up on the Calgary Flames. So 2 teams that I had going pretty far into the playoffs, and 2 teams that I have futures on, and a lot of us at FTN have futures on. We really need W's tonight from the Panthers and the Flames. And the final game is the Penguins and the New York Rangers. What we've seen from these playoffs so far is, everything has been pretty tight. Like, the scores haven't been. A lot of the games have been blowouts. They're like, if you're taking teams on the puck line, you've been pretty successful. But in terms of just all the series, they're all at 2-2. Except for that Colorado one, right? We had Boston get back into the series, taking care of business on home ice. That series now 2-2 going back to Carolina. And not going to lie, we had a bit of a party in the FTN Discord channel yesterday during that game. Everything was hitting. Pasta, Marchand, Bergeron, all over shots. Bergeron point, Bergeron assists, Pasta scored. That was a pretty successful day yesterday morning in that series with the perfection line back intact. They've been really, really good, but now it goes back to Carolina. Last night, the Bolts, right? Tampa gets blown out in game 1, then they blow out the Leafs in game 2, and then the Leafs blow them out in game 3, and then Tampa blows them out in game 4. We've yet to see a really tight game, but I thought that was an absolute pathetic effort from the Leafs last night, not gonna lie. Just like, where was the intensity? Where was the urgency that we saw in games 1 and game 3? I'm sure we'll see it now. They're still in pretty good shape. Go back to Toronto. It's a best 2 out of 3 now. You got home ice. They're still in pretty good shape, but that was an awful, awful effort last night from the Maple Leafs. And Elliot Friedman pointed this out on the broadcast last night, and, it's pretty alarming what he said. Since 2017 in the playoffs, when the Leafs have an opportunity to win a series or go up 2 games in a series, so kind of put the chokehold on a team, stranglehold on the team, they're 1-8. They're 1-8 in those situations. And last night was another example. Put a team away. Go up 3-1. Go back home, right? An opportunity. Again, the effort wasn't there. Credit to the Bolts. 2-time defending Stanley Cup champs are going to bring it with their backs against the wall. But I saw a pretty poor effort from the Leafs last night, and I've been impressed with them, in this series. But last night was not good. And even last year against the Habs up 3-1, they kind of just laid off the gas and, just kind of went through the motions, and it seemed to bite them. So I know a lot of people are hard on Willie Nylander. I'm seeing the videos surface on Twitter. I retweeted one this morning about, his effort on a dump-in just wasn't really there. He scored a couple goals. It's not his style. He is who he is. He's a skilled player. He's not going to get in there and muck it up in the corners. This is not going to happen now. I'm looking at John Tavares, the captain of the team, to kind of step up. He's the guy that is making $11 million. He's got no goals in the series. Obviously, bad break last year against the Habs to get forced out of that game early in game 1 of that series. But he needs to step up. That's the guy that I'm looking at. But no more Leafs talk here tonight. That's it. We're going to dive into the 4 other games. We're going to take a look at the baseball waiver wire. It is week 6 of the fantasy baseball season, and a lot of prospects are getting called up here today. Of course, George Kirby's the big top one for the Seattle Mariners pitcher. We've got Alec Thomas in there, Jose Miranda of the Twins, and Yohan Yepez of Seattle. So a lot of prospects to talk. We'll talk some 2 starts, and we'll hit the waiver wires for some ads. There's a lot of just decent bats that are hanging around the waiver wire. Rowdy Tellez is not one of them, although he has been one of the most picked up players. But we touched on him early last week after he had the big 2 home run, 6 RBI game. But he has been picked up in most spots. But we will dive into some baseball, and we will have an MLB prop towards the end of this show as well. A couple things I did want to get to off the top before we do break. A shout out to Rich Strike, who won the Kentucky Derby at 80-1. Fantastic stuff. I mean, there was a late scratch within the hour of the Kentucky Derby, and then Rich Strike gets in there, and at 80-1, and we talked about on the show briefly that there was no real clear-cut favorite to win the Derby, right? There's just a couple that were kind of just hanging around at like 8-1, 10-1, 12-1. No real clear-cut favorite, but Rich Strike, he wasn't even in the running with the last 15 seconds. You could just see him just burst up into the lead and takes it down. That was pretty cool. Daily handle in the house. That was wild. Rich Strike opened up at 99-1. So 80-1. You'll love to see it. And then Barry Trotz. What? Dude got fired this morning? Let go? The Islanders? What the heck is going on? He's an amazing coach. He's only going to last about a minute on the coaching waiver wire. I don't know. What the heck? This guy went to Jack Adams in 2019. The Islanders were in the 3rd round of the Stanley Cup Playoffs in each of the last 2 seasons, 1 game away from going to the Stanley Cup Finals. 1 game away from going to the Stanley Cup Finals, and this guy is just bounced. And not to mention, last year lost to the Tampa Bay Lightning, who won the Cup. The year before lost to the Tampa Bay Lightning, who won the Cup as well. He's a great defensive mind. Maybe they're looking for an offensive mind in New York, but there are a good dozen teams around the league that could get Trotz. Hopefully the Leafs fire Keefe and hire Trotz. Keefe's going to take a lot of heat if they don't get by the Lightning. But yeah, I mean, the Flyers come to mind, right? As a team that's been just lackluster defensively, Barry Trotz is going to find himself another job quickly. We'll break. I did want to give some love to Joker. We'll do it in the next segment. We'll give some love to Joker, who has been named the MVP. We'll break. We'll talk about him, and we have some baseball waiver wire stuff and a lot of hockey props and point props and shot props for you a little bit later on in the show. Hang tight. Welcome back in Mean Streets Live on Game Plus Network. I did want to say, those that are hanging out, I think they already know. They've heard me say it a few times, but any new viewers or listeners here, I guess if you are viewers on our YouTube page, smash the like button. If you have any questions, you can certainly leave them there in the YouTube section of the show, and I always circle back before puck drop or first pitch. I guess there's a lot of action this afternoon in Major League Baseball, but the main slate, first pitch, always circle back. If you do have any questions, things change, you can leave them there. The replay of this show over at FTN, if you're watching on Game Plus, we do always appreciate you. A great lineup, Dangle Betselli, Tuesdays and Thursdays, added to that Game Plus Network lineup, which we're so thrilled of here at FTN. So I went a little long in that first block. I did want to give some love to Joker, who was named MVP here, second straight year, back-to-back MVP winners. You see the first player in NBA history with 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 500 assists in a season. Pretty spectacular stuff. Average career highs in points, rebounds per game. So just diving into some historic stuff here. He is now the sixth center to go back-to-back MVP-wise. Actually, I lied. He's the fifth. So we had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who has gone back-to-back for centers, Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Moses Malone, and then Joker. There's been 13 players who have gone back-to-back in the MVP. My goodness. MVP for NBA. Say that 5 times fast. Couldn't say it once. But here are the studs, and I'm sure you've heard a lot of them. Bird, of course, Larry Bird in 84, 86. Magic, 89, 90. Jordan, 91, 92. Duncan, 2002, 2003. We had Steve Nash, old Canadian boy, 2005, 2006. I think one of those MVPs should have actually gone to Dirk, but it is what it is. LeBron James did it twice, 2009, 2010, then 2012, 2013. I also think he should have had another one there that they gave to Derrick Rose. Steph Curry in there, 2015, 16, and then Giannis, 2019, 20. So Giannis, Joker. So good stuff for Nikolai Jokic. And also, I think on the verge of signing the largest contract in NBA history. I saw it this morning before I came on. Reports 5 years, $254 million for Joker. He's phenomenal, though. Like, he's so good, right? That Denver team, they were missing some guys, of course, Canadian boy Jamal Murray, not with the squad, but they were missing some guys this season, and he carried them as far as he could. And, of course, they got bounced early against the Golden State Warriors. Let's take a quick break from the NBA and get into, Joker, unreal for you, top 3 player in the NBA. Yeah, I mean, hard to argue that, dude. I mean, you could make a case that he is the best. He's right there, I suppose, with Giannis. I still think LeBron at his age is one of the best players still in the NBA currently right now. There's no question about it. But yeah, Joker, MVP, good stuff. Historic season from him. Absolutely and a baller for sure. Okay, so let's switch gears and talk a little baseball. George, let's talk about the pitchers first. We'll break and then we'll dive into some of the hitters. Just scanning the waiver wire, and there's a few pitchers here. I mentioned off the top, it's basically prospect week. A lot of these prospects were called up here earlier. So some pitchers on the left, like certainly George Kirby is a guy that absolutely needs to be picked up everywhere, right? I mean, if he wasn't drafted in your league and keeper leagues and stuff, rush to the waiver wire right now and grab him. 2019 20th overall pick of the Seattle Mariners there. He had a start against Tampa Bay. Went 6 innings, only allowed 4 hits. It was 6 scoreless. He struck out 7. Didn't even walk a guy. He was really, really good in that first outing. And, he's, if you're playing in fab leagues, people are going to spend a lot of bucks on him. But, you look at some of his minor league starts and really, no AAA experience. So far this season, he had 5 starts in AA, 11K per 9, 1.89 walks per 9, struck out 32 and 24 and 2/3. He had some AA ball in 2021, 26 innings, same sort of stuff. The strikeouts 28 and 26, didn't walk a lot of guys, and really just didn't get into a lot of trouble. So I really like, obviously you like what you see from him. Seattle's got a ton of young, talented players. They're certainly on the rise, and, Kirby's one of those guys for sure. And also just what I want to say about him is just like kind of temper expectations. Like he's prospects, the sexy name, people are going to go nuts after him. Pick him up. up, roll him out. You love the ballpark that he's in, even in the division, right? Trips to Houston and to Texas and to Angel Stadium. There's some pitcher-friendly ballparks there inside that division. But they will be cautious with him, Seattle. Like they could eventually maybe go to a 6-man rotation. I don't know how deep he's going to go into ball games. They could scale him back towards the end of the season. It could be like a 6-man rotation sort of thing. So I think if you're in a roto league, you have no issues. If you're in a head-to-head league, maybe you consider, if he gets going here and he's amazing over the next couple of months, and they could scale him back a little bit, skip a start here or two, and that kind of stuff. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but that kind of stuff, I'd always consider selling a pitcher high in head-to-head formats. Roto's the way to go, and I love rotisserie leagues, but head-to-head formats, it's sometimes you only get one start out of a pitcher in your quarterfinal or semifinal matchup. If you can get a nice bat, something to return to help you out. Prospects, again, people want them. People are all about them. You can get a lot for some of these prospects, so you make them available, but certainly he's one of the top waiver wire pickups here. And then on the list, we did have some stashes. So again, Kirby, and then you got some rookies there at the bottom like Grayson and Max. Like these are the guys that I think will be the next call-ups. Make sure that these players are owned. If you're playing in keeper leagues and dynasty leagues, you definitely need to be owned. If you have an NA spot in your redraft league, you can grab them and pick them up and roll them out that way. But keep an eye on them for sure. I would have them picked up. Josh Winder's been really good here over the past couple outings for Minnesota. It did sound like, a couple guys are going to come back into the rotation, like Dylan Bundy was going to come back, but Paddock is now dealing with an elbow injury, so Winder could stick inside the rotation. You got Strider in there as a long reliever who's looked good now. I think he came in the second inning in his last outing. He didn't start the game, but he got in there and he struck out a bunch of guys. So he's another guy that it looks like he's going to get inside the rotation here for the Braves. So he's a guy that I would monitor as well. And there's a couple 2-star pitchers there on that list that I think, there's risky business with some of them, but I do like Michael Pineda because he's in a really good spot against Oakland and Baltimore. Like these two teams, Oakland near the top in strikeouts, Baltimore the same sort of deal, swinging strike percentage. Oakland's in the bottom 5 in all the offensive categories like ISO and WOBA, WRC+. They don't have a lot of power in there. And then Austin Gomer is a bit of a risky start for sure. But I don't hate the first matchup because it's not at Coors in Colorado. So that one is key as well. George, if you don't mind, maybe bring up that board one more time. There was a player that was on the tip of my tongue there. Yeah, Gosselin. Like, Gosselin should be owned. Tony Gosselin, pretty decent, right? A decent pitcher. Love those matchups. You love the fact that he plays for the Dodgers. He's going to get the run support. Tyler Anderson on the left, there's another guy that just really isn't getting a lot of love in the fantasy community, but 2 Dodger pitchers that can definitely help you out with Andrew Haney not looking like he's going to come back anytime soon. So those 2 guys, Gonsolin, a great 2-star pitcher option this week. And then Duran is a guy that just a long reliever who's getting a couple opportunities lately for some saves. He had a 2-inning save the other day with 5 punch-outs. Minnesota kind of, playing closer carousel. Haven't really locked anyone in, but I believe he's the guy with the highest ceiling. They just may feel like he's the high leverage guy. You roll him out there in the 7th or the 8th, not closing ball games, but he should be rostered regardless. And certainly if you need some saves, you can help him out there as well. We will take a quick break. Jason Prince in the house, the shot prop king. Big respect for you. Can't wait for Dangle Betselli tomorrow. We do appreciate you, Prince. Kempe killed you last night. Yeah, he's moved up to 3.5 now, right? I mean, we rode the 2.5 train for Kempe all year, maybe in the last. I want to say that this guy hit in 75% of his games over the last 2 months. I'm kind of speculating, but pretty sure that number is spot on. Like, this is a guy that has been hitting consistently, and he didn't show up yesterday. But Kempe's been, like Aim the Artist says, Kempe was bound to not hit one time. He did kill some parlays for a couple of us. There's no question. But some of these shot props that you can take as singles, I know the payout is not as fun. It's not as sexy to just have that single in there, but it's not a bad idea. If you go single for the most part, you will have, I think, profitable days. So far, things have been good for us in the playoffs. We're going to keep the baseball talk going. We'll break, and we'll dive into some hitters, and then we'll get into the NHL. We'll dive into some shot props and some point props. Keep her locked. Welcome back in. Going to continue the MLB talk here on Mean Streets, live on Game Plus Network. It really was prospect week, so this next board here is right up at the top. It's, again, a lot of prospects just on the board, like Alec Thomas, really top prospect that I think I would make a priority to pick up, Jose Miranda, and then you want Yepez in there for the St. Louis Cardinals. So for Thomas, a second-round pick in 2018, 63rd overall, 4 homers, 3 stolen bases here in 24 games in AAA this season. Slash line 277, 362, and 667. He definitely has some pop. 18 homers and 13 stolen bases in 106 combined games in 2021, AA and AAA. His walk rate strong, solid, and not a lot of strikeouts in his minor league game either, which is, that checks some boxes for me. This is a lot of free swingers in the minors at some of these kids, but Alec Thomas is a guy that I think I would make the priority. You got outfield eligibility there for him. And, Arizona's lineup is clearly, it's not great. It's not spectacular, but it's been better lately. I'll tell you that. They're on a little bit of a heater, but I'd like Thomas, he opened up in that 8 spot in his debut. He was 1 for 3. Had a double in there, but I could see him, getting near the top of the lineup there in Arizona. I also want to give it a shout out to our guy, Vlad Sedler, who, his baseball articles over the weekend heading into like a weekly primer. It's absolutely fantastic. Like he covers every single base for you. So it is part of our FTN fantasy package. He dives into, it's mostly high stakes stuff. Like some of the players like Gonsolin wouldn't have been an option for him because that guy was owned and he was drafted in a lot of high stakes leagues and maybe even picked up after week 1. But his ownership is hanging around like 55% in Yahoo, ESPN. So that's why I brought him to your attention. But Vlad does really cover all of it from a high stakes standpoint, which even if you don't play high stakes, could certainly help you out. You get ahead of the curve. He talks about some deep league stashes in there as well. But Alex Thomas for me up at the top. Miranda is, I think he's got some playing time. I think we're going to see a little bit more from Thomas, probably a little bit more from Yepez in there. But for Miranda, he has been playing here every day over the past little bit. I hit in the 2 spot yesterday, which was solid for him. He's got hits in 3 of his last 4. He's got a bomb in there. So his numbers are not spectacular, but he certainly has a lot of pop. 30 home runs in 2021 combined AA and AAA, 17 and 80 plate appearances here this season in AAA. Great contact rates as well. And then Yepez is a guy that can play first, can play third. He's got a great glove. Albert Pujols, I don't think that they're going to release him, but he's just a platoon guy at this point of his career. So Yepez is another guy that's got some pop, 9 homers and 93 plate appearances in AAA this season, and 22 and 357 plate appearances in 2021 as well. So those are your prospects. Just make sure that they're kind of owned here. Meaney, I'm talking to all of these players for a hit. Let's see how we do. He's taking all these players for a hit. Yeah. Okay. All right. We could take them for a hit here tonight. Get involved with them. I do like some of the contact skills for some of these kids, which is huge, because sometimes when these kids get called up, it's like, oh, the strikeouts, right? Like we already seen Joe Adell get sent down again because, the fielding was not great with Adell and a lot of swing and miss in his game at the moment. Certainly a lot of power, and I don't think the Angels are going to give up on him, but that's what you see, I think, from even the young pitchers who come up. The command is a little spotty, and the plate discipline is not there, but I'm seeing it from some of these guys. Now, of course, there's a big jump from AA and AAA ball to the big, but we'll see how some of them work out. There's a lot of other guys here on this list that I think, could definitely help you out. Margot's on a heck of a run. He's got homers in 3 straight. I got him in a couple spots. He's got some speed to his game. He's been a kind of a platoon guy over the past couple years, but he's been playing mostly every single day. He's actually coming in red hot. Like, Am the Artist, I'd take this guy for a hit. He's got a matchup tonight against the Angels and Noah Syndergaard, but he's got 4 multi-hit games over the last couple of weeks. He's hitting 325 with 3 bombs. Now, he's not a big power guy. He does have homers in 3 straight games, but he does come in with some speed as well. I don't think he'll really hurt you anywhere. You're not picking him up from power. You're picking him up hopefully for some speed and, hitting near the top of the order, sometimes in the 3 spot, sometimes in the 5, a little bit. The Tampa moves their guys around. They have a lot of platoon guys, but I do like him. Yadier Hernandez for Washington has been getting on base. I don't know if he can continue to keep this up, but he is getting on base for Washington. Washington's lineup is okay. It's not bad, right? They still have some hitters in that lineup. It's their chucking and the bullpen that's going to let them down. as they blew it last night against the Halos in the 9th inning. But Hernandez is a guy that's hanging around. And then Ramon Laureano, all right, he just came back serving the lengthy suspension last year, and then missed the first 27 games or so to start this season as well. But he is back. And one thing I will highlight with some of these Oakland Athletics, you see Noose there at the bottom. He's not a big power guy, but second, third base eligibility. If your league is deep, you can roll him out, some contact. But one thing I like about Oakland that Vlad points out is that they have the best schedule this week. 9 games this week. Only 7 days. What? 9 games? They have 2 double hitters. So if you're in a deeper league, you're looking for maybe somebody in the utility spot, and your lineups lock on a Monday, you can pick up maybe 1 or 2 of those Oakland guys. But Ramon he certainly should be owned, right? He's got some power. He's got some speed. He's probably going to hit near the top of the lineup all year. He's going to give them a bit of a boost. And then chuck that board up one more time there. Drury on a brutal Cincinnati squad, but he's got second, third, and outfield. He's got a little bit of power. He's hitting near the top of the lineup. I think he's an okay pickup. I like Rojas in there for Arizona. Again, triple eligibility. Another guy who can come in with a little bit of speed. He's probably like a double-digit stolen base guy the rest of the year. Maybe he gets to 10 homers. And then Jesus Aguilar's got a lot of pop in his bat. Good on an on-base percentage league, right? He's walking. The Miami lineup is okay, right? Jazz is great near the top. We talked a lot about Jesus Sanchez as well, but Aguilar's got some power. It's not a great ballpark, but I don't think he's going to crush you anywhere either. The on-base percentage has been pretty good for him to start the season. All right, enough baseball for now, although the Artist does check in. Dodgers and Brewers money line and Giants Rockies no-run second inning. Lock for MLB. We'll have to break and maybe revisit that. But anytime the Dodgers are on the slate, it's probably a pretty good bet for them to pick up a W. We will break, and we'll dive into that question from the Artist, and we got some NHL stuff for you as well. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back in. Mean Streets here live on our FTN YouTube page and Game Plus Network. Chris Meaney here with you. Appreciate you guys taking the time and hanging out with me here on a Monday. All right, so we did have the question from the Artist with the Dodgers and the Brewers. Yeah, the Dodgers are playing the Pirates. Like, what kind of odds are we going to get for the Dodgers on the run line here? Minus 130 to win by 2. It's pretty good. Most spots I'm seeing minus 140, minus 145. I don't really love run line stuff, but man, when it comes to the Dodgers here playing against the Pirates, you got Julio Urias on the hill for the Dodgers. 1.88 ERA so far to start the season is against Quintana. Like, this is a prime spot for the Dodgers here today to win by a couple runs. Use the free parlay calculator prop shop, the Artist over at ftnbets.com. You don't have to go searching around for the best possible odds. if you do have a couple sports books that you like to go to, it just saves yourself a little bit of time. And then I like the other call that you had with the Brewers money line. I would go with the Brewers money line. You got Brendan Woodruff on the bump for Milwaukee. It's been a rough start for Woodruff. It really has. I think we had him in the bet tracker his last start, plus 140 for a win. Maybe check out that prop as well to see if you can get a W. Luis Castillo is making his 2022 debut for the Reds, and I like him. I like him a lot. He did struggle last year at times, but this is his first start. So he may not go deep. There could be a little bit of rust. The Brewers are hot, right? In Milwaukee, we like Milwaukee quite a bit on this show as well. Always using the bet tracker. We appreciate you, Am the artist. But yeah, I would roll with the Dodgers maybe on the run line. Maybe check out Woodruff to get a W today. Maybe plus money. Get the run support against Luis Castillo. I would imagine Castillo's the next Red to be shipped out of town. Let's see if he can stay healthy over the next month or two. He is headed for 2 starts this week. I would double check your wire. He could be available in like 8-team leagues, but certainly is a guy who's probably drafted everywhere. A couple other, bets that I like here today. I really like Nestor Cortez. Of course, that game's happening at 105 Eastern, but I do like if you can find some strikeout props for him. I like the White Sox against Cleveland as well. Zach Plesac's not a guy that I fully believe in, and I really like Michael Kopech, and I love Mike Convery's White Sox as well. I think they got some sneaky upside, but Kopech has been spectacular so far. 1.17 ERA. White Sox are at home here. And keep an eye on Mackenzie Gore, his strikeout prop as well, up against the Chicago Cubbies, who do strike out quite a bit. I know some of their numbers are a little bit inflated. They're starting to come back down to earth a bit. They had that 4-game series at Coors where they went off. They still are among the leaders against righties, but Mackenzie Gore is a southpaw, and he's been really, really strong to start as well. 22 punch-outs and a 1.71 ERA. All right, that's it for the baseball talk. Am the artist, you're smart, dude. I think you're all over it, man. The Giants and the Rockies, no runs. You got Rodon on the bump, so I could get behind that one as well. Maybe a bit of an under to start that game. Rodon and Austin Gomber, who we did give a little bit of love to at the start as a 2-start pitcher option here today. So let's kind of roll through some of the 4 games in the NHL, kind of give my thoughts on where I think maybe the offense could come from, where we're at in the series, and then we'll break and we'll hammer home some NHL props and some picks. So we'll start here with Florida and Washington. Let's go there. Yeah, Florida and Washington here in the series. The Capitals have been strong all 3 games. I think that they've been the better team in all 3 games. I mean, game 1, they really heavily outchanced the Florida Panthers in that game. And the past couple on home ice, the home ice one was, I mean, they really put the beat down on them. I think Florida overall was the better 5-5 team, even though Washington outscored them at 5-5, 3-1. But for the most part, the 5-5 numbers, apart from maybe game 2, has all been in favor of this Washington squad. Now, we did not get Alex Ovechkin in the last game for shot props, but he has 22 shot attempts in the series and 12 shots. Now, a lot of his shots have come on the power play. He only has 6 shots at 5-5 here in this series, but he's another guy, and I'm not going to have him in my top 4 picks here for tonight, but 3.5 shots is something that I have no problem going back to when it comes to Ovechkin. Something that we've really been successful with Ovi to start the season or to start these playoffs is his assist props. Plus 205 in game 1, plus 195 in game 2, plus 165 in game 3. And spoiler alert, we'll talk about it in the next block. I like him again to hit the score sheet. He's got three apples here to start this playoff series, 1 in each game. He only has the 1 goal. He did get it in the last game. So Ovechkin kind of checks some boxes for me. Anthony Mantha is another guy that checks a lot of boxes for me. He's second on the team in shots and shot attempts with 14 shot attempts and 10 shots on goal. TJ Oshie is hanging around 1.5 shots. If you can find him, you can put him into a parlay. It's a bit much to ask for 2.5, even though he is at plus money. I'd rather go to Mantha. So Ovi and Mantha are on my list, and then TJ Oshie maybe to hit the score sheet here. But I expect Florida to show up, right? We've talked about it off the top with some of these teams that are down in the series. We've seen them battle back, right? In that next game, they've battled back. Florida battled back in game 2, and we talked about some other teams that have battled back here so far to get the series even. I'm looking at the big dogs for Florida. I'm looking at Alexander Barkoff. Barkoff leads all Florida Panthers skaters in attempts with 18 and 11 shots here so far in the playoffs. Huberdeau's right there with him at 16 shot attempts and 10 shots. Those are the two Florida Panther guys I am looking at here tonight, especially Barkoff, the captain of the squad. I think we'll see a really, really strong effort from him. All the other shot attempt leaders are defensemen. You got Montour in there with 18 shot attempts. You got Ben Sherratt with 15. You got Mackenzie Weegar with 14 and Aaron Ekblad with 14. Bennett has been really quiet so far in this series. Sam Reinhart kind of checks a couple boxes for me if you can find him at plus money. He's been pretty good lately, especially in that game 3. He does have 9 shots here for the Florida Panthers, which is third on the Panthers among forwards in shots in this series. I think we'll see some goals in this game. Bobrovsky's been okay. He hasn't been spectacular. Samsonov was really good in game 4 or in game 3. I think we'll see some offense. You're right. Bennett's been absent. You're going to have to shy away from him, but am the artist. You're saying Huberdeau to hit the score sheet again. Yes, I think Huberdeau hits the score sheet. I think that Barkoff hits the score sheet. I like him to have a couple points here tonight, especially for an assist. And I also like, who was it that I was thinking off the top of my head? Oh, Giroux. I like Giroux as well. He's been a point-per-game guy here for the Panthers. You get plus money for him to have an assist. I think the big boys for Florida show up. I think they show up tonight. I think they have to show up tonight. So we'll dive away from that series a little bit. I think the Panthers win, and I like the over in that one. Calgary and Dallas. I think the Flames are in trouble. I thought they played a pretty good game, actually, in Dallas, but at the end of the day, it was the Stars who overcame them. But for the most part, this has been a Calgary team that has dominated play. Game 1, the shot attempts in favor of Dallas pretty significantly there. And overall in the series, pretty significant as well. But game 1 was 38-28 for Calgary. Game 2 was 42-22. And then it was pretty much even in that third game with Dallas having a really, really strong third period. The under did not hit. Am the artist. My goodness, we got burned, right? We got burned on that one. It was an empty net goal at the buzzer, a 4-2 victory for Dallas. Rupe Hintz. One thing I will say is these Dallas players on home ice, the splits have been for real, right? Eric Young and I have talked about this a lot on Dangle Betselli. I think 48% of their goals have come from the top line. The top line was pretty quiet in games 1 and 2 on the road in Calgary, but games 3, they all hit their shot prop. Pavelski had a couple goals. Robertson's a guy that I would look at here on home ice, kind of get away from Elias Lindholm. Daily Handle likes the over in Dallas, Calgary. Yeah, I still feel like I'm leaning towards the trend, and it's been the under, right? We've gotten in 2 of the 3. We just kind of got burned by the empty net goal at the buzzer. I kind of have a lean to the under there, Daily Handle, but it's all on you. I just feel like we just got burned at the very end with that empty netter. But guys that I'm looking at that I don't have on the list for the next segment, Jason Robertson, 2.5 shots. Johnny Hockey was in the tracker at plus money for an assist the other night. He did have it. Johnny Hockey for shots. Him and Elias Lindholm. I'm expecting top performances from these key players on these respective teams, Florida and Calgary. This is it. You can't go down 3-1. So I'm expecting things. I like the Flames here in this game to bounce back. I like Calgary. It is a tough one to call. It's been a really tight checking series with not a lot of offense, but I do like the Calgary Flames here on home ice. A lean to the under. But Johnny Hockey for me for shot props, even like Elias Lindholm, you're going to get him at a decent price at 2.5 shots. Johnny Hockey assist here tonight. Noah Hannafin for 2.5 shots. He's been great on the blue line for the Flames as well. Before we move on from this game, because there really isn't a lot to say about the Colorado and Nashville one, but I just wanted to give you some of the leaders here so far in terms of shots, and you'll be surprised just to see Noah Hannafin up at the top. So all strengths, I'm using Natural Stat Trick here, our friends over at Natural Stat Trick. Johnny Hockey has 21 shot attempts, leaves everybody on the Flames. He's only got 7 shots, but Noah Hannafin is the guy that leads Calgary in shots here in the series with 10. Like, that can't happen as your defenseman, but he's been plus money for 2.5 shots. He's got 10 shots for 3 games, and he has 18 shot attempts, and of course he leads all skaters in ice time in this series on the Calgary side of things. So that's a guy that I would take a look at for plus money as well. Tkachuk, I was thinking, my one thing with Tkachuk, he's getting himself in trouble. He's dropping the gloves too much. I can't have this guy sitting in the box for 5 to 7 minutes in every single game, right? He needs to kind of temper back here a bit. I understand there's been some bad blood in this series. You know, his hand's all cut up. It was bleeding the other day. He got into a fight. I get it. He's a tough guy that can drop the gloves and change the momentum of a game and of the series. That's why I'm a little hesitant. I think I'd rather Lindholm and Johnny Hockey. Both guys had 5 shots in game 3. But I have no problem if you want to roll with Tkachuk in a parlay. or whatnot. He's a guy that's really interesting from a plus money standpoint in terms of scoring a goal and maybe getting an assist. I think that top line does show up here tonight for the Flames. All right, and then the other one that we could really dive into is Pittsburgh and New York, the Rangers here. This has been a high-scoring series. I thought it was going to be a low-scoring affair. Igor Shesterkin looks, I don't know, tired. Can we say, guys, that he looks a little gassed? He looks a little tired so far here in the playoffs. The Penguins are scoring goals. I'd like the Rangers to bounce back here as, again, another team that's pretty desperate. Igor has bounced back quite a bit when he's been pulled this season. His next game, it's been a bounce-back effort from him. I believe he's 8-1 following games where he's been pulled. I like the Rangers to bounce back, but I'm going back to the usual suspects. Sidney Crosby come playoff time has been fantastic. I like Crosby. Think of Kasperi Kapanen as a long shot plus money guy who's been shooting the puck quite a bit here today. I don't like the under. I don't like the under in that game. I don't. I am the artist is on it. I feel like I'm with you, dude, on the same page. Shesterkin looks a little gassed. He looks a little tired. His Penguins teams can score. I think they can get to 2 or 3. And the Rangers probably going to get to 2 or 3. And then there's your over right there. The under is kind of ruined, right? You get the push at 6. I think we'll see some goals again, right? It's just a trend that will follow the trends here throughout. I'm not going to lie. I'm totally wrong so far on this original trend. I thought that it would be a low-scoring series, but it hasn't been. Kopp's been great. Hitting the score sheet, basically even money, point per game guy with the Rangers. Frank Vetrano, plus money, like him as well. Adam Fox, plus money, like him as well to have some shots. And on the Pittsburgh side of things, it really is all about Sidney Crosby. It's Sidney Crosby. Brian Russ has been off the top line, on the top line, kind of hit or miss. It's Gensel and Crosby for me. Those are the two guys. And then we'll dive into Colorado in the next block. We'll break and we'll dive into the Avs because it's all over for the Nashville Predators. Maybe they squeak one out here tonight, but Colorado is absolutely dominating them, and they just don't have the goaltending to keep up on the other side. So we'll break, and we will dive into some more shot props and some point props here on Mean Streets. Welcome back in. We're going to continue the hockey talk here on Mean Streets and just hammer home a couple of the shot props. But hopefully, I wasn't just talking in circles there in that last segment. I just giving you guys some of my thoughts. So here's what I'm doing from a shot prop standpoint. We're going to have a whole lot more in the FTN bet tracker, but as Am the Artist said to start the show, his core really is Crosby and Barkoff. This is a Cole Harbor, Nova Scotia connection here. We had the Crosby and Nate McKinnon shot prop parlay in the bet tracker in the last 2 nights ago when these two teams were playing here. I'm going right back to it tonight. Crosby's been a beast. Playoff time, he's a little bit juiced. Barkoff's a little bit juiced. And McKinnon's at minus 105 for 4.5 shots. But all these guys are just hitting consistently. Again, I'm expecting big-time performances tonight from Florida's top guys. I still like Jonathan Huberdeau, who's not on this list. But Huberdeau and Barkoff are guys that I'm going to for Florida. I'm going to Sidney Crosby for the Penguins. I don't mind Kapanen as a single play for a plus money, or if you want to get involved with Russ, but I think Crosby's good to go here. And then Nathan McCannon, right? Nathan McCannon, the Avs have just absolutely dominated this entire series. It's just been, the first game, 7-2, 2-1, where Ingram stood on his head. The Avs had 84 shot attempts to 36 against at 5-on-5. He stood on his head. He was absolutely fantastic. And then 7-3 in that final game. So again, from our friends over at Natural Stat Trick, we just look at it overall. In the 3 games at 5-on-5, the Avs have had 201 shot attempts to 119 against. The goals at 5-on-5, 8-3. The shots for are double for the Avs. The scoring chances are 95 for Colorado and 50 for the Nashville Predators, and the high danger chances mean same sort of thing, right? It's just 12 more for Colorado. So not as crazy as I thought, but the shots on goal and the scoring chances are absolutely absurd here for the Avs in this series. They're just too much. There's just too much to handle. That's it. So through 3 games, Cale Makar leads the Avs in shot attempts at 34, but he's only cleared in 1 of the 3. He has 16 shots. Now, he did have a massive game 2 where he had 23 shot attempts and 12 shots on goal. I would just rather take him to get a point or something. But for McKinnon, he's got 30 shot attempts and 20 shots in 3 games. This guy is just on another level. There's a lot of other Avs that I like, but I'm rolling with him. And then Roman Yossi's the guy for me. You saw there with the bonus play. He is plus money here to have 4 shots. We've talked about just the ice time that he does get, and he is leading the Preds with 21 shot attempts and 13 shots. And he's played 76 minutes here in the playoffs, which is the exact same amount as Cale Makar. So those guys are going neck and neck. They're playing a lot. So that's kind of where I'm at for cores, but there's a lot more that I like here that I have on a list, and why not? I do want you guys to be part of the FTN family, and when you sign up, use the promo code NHL Meaney. You will have all the picks from everybody across all the sports. He's got Griff Dog in there giving NHL picks, and he's off to a hot start. You got access to the Discord channel. You got some projections and some tools that you will have as well. You can sign up for the free newsletter over at ftnbets.com. You get a free pick every time, but I will throw out a couple other guys that I like, and a lot of that I already kind of did in the last segment, but Johnny Hockey, Robertson, Duchesne, Mantha, Ovechkin, Huberdeau, Vetrano, and Fox. Those are some other guys that I do like, but I'm hammering those 4 as I think safe bets. If you want to put them into parlays, you can, but because they're a little steep for singles, but some plus money plays that I just gave you there as well. Let's transition over to some points. Some point props. I feel like I don't want to pat ourselves in the back here too much, but honestly, we're up over 100 units here at FTN, and it's been a successful playoff with some of these point props and assist props. I'm going to McKinnon at 1.5 at plus 160. He's also plus money to have assists tonight. Gabriel Landisgog has been an absolute beast here in the playoffs for the Colorado Avalanche. He missed some time towards the end of the season, but man, he's got 3 goals. He's got 6 points. He's got 13 shots. He's been really good. He's got 3 helpers. So plus money for Gabriel Landisgog on that top line for the power play. And, getting ice time on the second line, but plus 140 for an assist, I think is really good. Cale Makar, minus 130 for an assist. This is kind of as steep as I would go. You see Martin or you see Makar, at this price for an assist. Now, assists they're tough to come by, even though we've been kind of hammering them quite a bit, but I like the plus money ones. But even still, Cale Makar here for the Avs that are, probably 5 or 6 goals here again tonight. It's tough to predict a team for 6 goals, but what we're seeing a lot of offense. We're seeing a team dominate another team, and they're without their starting goalie, right? So let's continue with these Colorado guys. You can't parlay them together. We're not there yet, but taking them as singles, Makar assists, Landeskog assists, McCannon assists, or McCannon 2 points. Rantanen's not on this list for an assist. Lekkonen's plus money for a point. Burakovsky's in on the top 6. He could maybe fall into a point. Kadri's not even on this board, right? Have some fun with some of these Avs guys, because things will get a little bit tighter in the second round for Colorado, whether they play St. Louis or Minnesota, one of those 2 teams, right? It's another team that bounced back last night with the Blues. But again, have some fun with these Colorado guys. I mentioned Ovechkin in the last block. plus 205 in game 1 for an assist, plus 165, plus 195. Now we're getting plus 145. He's a goal scorer, but that's why we're getting plus money for some of those assists. So have Ovechkin on your radar as well. Maybe Giroux as an assist. You saw Barkoff on the score sheet on that list there as an assist as well. And then, yeah, the whole Avs team, the artist says, yeah, let's just have some fun and take advantage of it, right? It's happening. It's not going to continue the whole playoffs, I don't think, but they're a very powerful team offensively. They're feeling it, right? They hear the noise, being favored to win the Stanley Cup in each of the past 3 seasons and not getting past the second round. They're taking advantage of a team that's a little bit depleted right now. And then we had Andrew Kopp on that board. He's been well over a point per game guy for the Rangers. I believe he has a point in all 3 games here. We've hit this in every single game. Let's go back to it. The odds are starting to get a little bit juicier. We did get even money in game 1, and I think game 2 may have been minus 110 or minus 105, minus 110. And now we're getting minus, what was that? Minus 120 there for Kopp. Yeah, not bad. And then TJ Oshie's been really good too. Really strong in the playoffs as well. So he's another guy at minus 105 for a point. And then tomorrow, what we'll do is we'll dive into some Carolina and some Boston players as well. Daily handle, do you like the over in the Avs Preds at 6.5? It's hard not to like the over. It's hard not to like the over when you expect this team to at least score 4 or 5. And Nashville's been, they scored a couple goals themselves, hung around, and got a strong performance from Duchesne. And I'd imagine we're going to get a really strong performance, empty the tank for Nashville tonight. So, yeah, I do lean with the over there as well. We'll break. We only got another minute or so to round out the show. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back in, guys. One final time. Just want to give you guys a shout out. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. It really does mean a lot here on the show. And I was going to give some baseball props to wrap up, but kind of already gave them, right? I do like the White Sox here today with Kopp on the bump. I think that's a pretty strong play. I just looked for Mackenzie Gore. There's still nothing from a strikeout prop standpoint, but if he's hanging around 5.5, maybe 6.5 plus money. 5.5 is one that I would certainly lock in. I'll give you guys Steph Curry, right? I mean, wow, I'm going to give you Steph Curry, one of the best shooters of all time. Breaking news. Really good at shooting the basketball, but 3.5 props like minus 150. Maybe we can chuck that into some of our NHL prop parlays here, because that Calgary and Dallas game it's really tough to call. There's not a lot of offense. Like, I'm not feeling too confident outside of Robertson or Johnny Hockey maybe to hit the score sheet or like to have some shots here. But Steph Curry at 3.5 threes at minus 150. Only 2 for 8 from beyond the arc in his last game here, but he has jacked up 31 shots in the 3 games against the Grizzlies, and he hasn't shot the ball all that well, right? 5 for 12, 3 for 11, 2 for 8. So he could only stay that cold for so long. It is Steph Curry after all, and he has improved from a point standpoint in every single game. So look for Steph Curry. I think the Warriors roll tonight with no jaw, 10-point favorites. I think they probably win by 15 or 20. That's it. All right, we're out of here. Have a good one, guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Cheers.